Hey everyone, you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You don't want to know what's shaking in Aiken. It's your host, Brian Katonic again, and glad to be back with you. It is springtime now, not officially, but March to me says springtime, and in Aiken, springtime means horses. And if you don't know it, we have a great event this weekend. It's the Aiken Harness Races. It's on Saturday, and we have with us Janice McGee, who is the owner of McGee's Mile. And Janice, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good.
Good,
How
good.
are you?
I am fantastic. So you're telling me a little bit. You and your husband got the mile track in about 20 years ago. Is that right?
28, 9, 1997 is
Okay.
when we took over.
All right. And were you guys in Aiken or did you move here from somewhere else?
We moved here from Maine.
Maine, really interesting. So
Yeah.
how'd you learn about Aiken and the harness racing in Aiken?
Well, to tell you the truth, we never heard of Aiken.
Okay.
Living in Maine, we had a lot of horses and a pretty big stable. So the winters are brutal.
I would imagine, yes.
And Bruce decided this is not fun in the winter. We got to look for a place in this for the winter months so we can train horses and don't have to stop for snow and this and that. So we went to Florida because we were looking to buy Spring Garden Ranch. That was up for sale at the time. And the deal never didn't go through because they wouldn't show us certain parts of the balance sheet and stuff. So somebody said, "Well, you ought to go to Aiken." And Bruce was like, where's Aiken? Never heard of Aiken." And they said, "Aiken, South Carolina. They have a really nice facility there. The city owns it." And they've been trying to sell it for quite a while.
Yep.
So that's how we came to Aiken.
How
He
about that?
came here, fell in love with the place
How
the
about that?
minute he got here. So, yeah.
So I take it. So you guys had been involved in racing as far as like owners of racetracks or owner of horses, or how what was y'all's involvement in the sport?
Owner of horses. We had a big farm and we bred and raised them, trained them, raced for years before we came to Aiken.
So when you guys acquired the track, was the harness races still going on? Because didn't they go
Yes,
away for a while?
they did with us. But when we got here, it was city owned. The track was city owned, and the university would sponsor the races,
I remember that.
University
Yeah.
of South Carolina. And so they had been doing it. So we just kept on with them, um, and with the races.
All right. So at the facility, how many horses train out there? And I know the number probably fluctuates, but on average, how many horses are out there?
Well, for the last 5, 6 years, it's been 80 to 90 horses.
Okay. So, and most of them from other places, I take it, or are they all local?
Yes, all from up north.
All right. All
They
right.
all come from up north to get out of the cold weather, the snow,
Yeah.
and they have a bigger advantage when they train. They can train every day, and instead of dealing with snow and everything else.
And I'm sure you know this, but a lot of my listeners probably don't. In the early 1900s, harness racing was like one of the sports in this country, right?
Right, right. That's how actually this track came about
Is
in
that right?
1837, and Dunbar Bostwick
Right.
decided that this was a polo field
Okay.
before, and he decided he wanted to build a track because he liked harness racing. Of course, he was into polo, and he ended up getting a couple of people together, and they put this track in. And when they did, it was during the Great Depression, and so it kind of boosted Aiken because it became a winter place for a lot of people to come race their horse, train their
Right.
horses, and so it kept Aiken going because it brought in more money for Aiken through the Great Depression.
How about that? How about that? Okay. So I know in the harness racing world, there are pacers and trotters. So I know
Correct.
a little bit, but tell us what's the difference between the two?
Uh, a trotter is a diagonal gait, which means your left front would go with your right rear,
Okay.
and your right front would go with your left rear at the same time. So that's the gait. A pacer, it's the same side. So like it's like a rocking gait. Your right front and right left go together, and your left front and left back go together.
Okay. And which is the more popular? Is it trotters or pacers?
Trotters, the trotters have always been the most popular. There are more pacers than trotters, but trotters have been always the most popular, I guess, because it's a natural gait. And pacers use hobbles,
Okay.
which help them stay on gait. A trotter, some of them have hobbles, but they don't work like the pacers hobbles. And it's a natural gait. It's harder to stay on a trot than it is a pace.
I got you. Okay. And I know it was real football. The person operating the horse, they are not a jockey, right?
That's correct. They're a driver.
A driver. Yeah, I'm sure that's very common. People say, "Hey, oh, you're a jockey," but that's not right. They are a driver. Okay.
That's right.
And then the little cart that they're on, that's called what?
Well, it's a jog cart is what we train them in, break them in and train them in. It's longer, it's heavier than a sulky, which is the race bike.
Okay.
And like if a horse kicks, if you lean back, they're not going to get you in the head. In a sulky or the race bike, it's a lot shorter and your legs go around pretty much the horse's butt. So you can
All right.
touch their tail when you're sitting there.
Okay.
So by the time you get them in that, which is it's a lot lighter, it's a lot faster, of course, than a jog cart. When you get them into the race bike, you better hope that they're not going to kick or anything like that.
So on Saturday, will they be in the jog cart or will they be in the sulkies?
There's going to be both.
All right. Okay. And these horses, is this kind of like their maiden event in
Yes.
front of a crowd and stuff? Okay. All right. So these are what, 2-year-old, 3-year-olds?
The majority are all 2 year olds, so they bring them here and they break them and start training them. So this Saturday, it's the first time they've seen a crowd. It's the first time they see cars parked along the gate, tents, and all that stuff. So it's, it's kind of their first experience.
Right. So it's a good indoctrination. I'm sure the trainers can say, hey, this horse reacted well, or this horse needs a little more work done, right?
Right.
Okay.
But
So go
the
ahead.
good thing about it is the starting gate, which in a normal race, the standard the wings come out and then they can fold back in. We just have a 4 horse starting gate. It's just a gate to break them to the gate.
I got you.
And with that going during the races, that kind of keeps their attention. So instead of them looking at the crowd or looking at the infield at the crowd, they kind of focused on the starting gate. So once they go by for the first time, usually the second time around, it's not so bad for them because they kind of went by it
Okay.
and they're kind of tired. When they come to the finish line,
Okay.
they're a little.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Okay. Okay. So Saturday, I know last year I went to the event. It rained Saturday, so it had to be Sunday, but I think this Saturday's going to be good, right?
Yeah, yes, it's going to be great.
Right. Okay. So gates open at what time?
Gates open at 9. The races start at 12.
All right. All right.
And
And for people, if they want to get tickets beforehand, can they do so, or do they go online, or where they go for tickets?
we don't sell online. Aiken Saddlery, Good Girls Brewery, the Aiken County Visitors Center,
All right.
and they sell all the general admission tickets. McGee's Mile is the only place that sells the railside passes.
Okay. Are there still railside passes available?
I have a few available.
A few available. Okay.
Yep,
If I'm right, if they buy tickets beforehand, the general admissions is $25, but then it's
correct.
30 the day of.
Yes.
And
Except, but the railside pass they can get the day of if we have any available, and that's the same price. It's 75.
75. And that gets you a pass and 2 tickets, I think.
Correct.
Okay, so if you're going and want a nice seat, it's kind of better to have a railside spot, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming down today to buy a railside spot, so I want a good spot. So it's
Nice.
so good. And folks, if you've never been, I know steeplechase is coming up. And people wear fancy hats and dress all kind of stuff. It is very laid back, very relaxed. It's great to bring kids out there. It's a really good family time, isn't it, Janice?
Yes, it is. It's the most relaxed out of the three.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always enjoy going, and again, it's kind of a kickoff of spring. come around. You'll see friends of yours, meet new friends. It's a really good time. How many races are there?
There will be 11 races, but one is a Hackney race. So there's 10 standardbred races and one Hackney.
Now, what's a Hackney race?
They're ponies that they're a gated type of pony. Um, but they just carry their legs way up and they'll trot really, really fast. It's just a different type of gait. It's not
Gotcha.
a racing. It's not
Gotcha.
really a racing gait.
Let me ask you, I know there's been talk for years really about having parimutuel betting in South Carolina and betting on horse races and stuff like that. If that ever passed in the state, like would you try to make your facility a place where y'all could have like, weekly events or something like that? Have you ever thought about that?
Yes. Yeah, this place would be perfect for something like that. And it's perfect through the winter,
Yeah,
you
right.
know? I mean, it's crazy it's hard to race horses when it's 20 degrees or below. It's not good for their lungs, it's not good for anything.
Yeah. You
So
know,
this
it's kind of amazing that a lot of the politicians in the state said, "Well, we don't want horse racing or gambling in South Carolina," but you walk in any convenience store and there's five
exactly.
people in line buying lottery tickets or on their phone with FanDuel, something like that, betting right there. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. We've been trying to pass it between us and Georgia. We have been trying to pass it for the last 10 years now,
yeah, yeah,
and it always misses by one vote. It's
yeah.
always one vote, and it gets to the legislature and one vote.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I just think in time as it's become more and more of a thing, hopefully we'll get it. It'd be good for you guys, be good for the Aiken economy. People come to town and it'll be a fun thing to do to go out there and
Exactly.
actually
And
bet.
there's so many horse events here. I mean,
Right.
the thoroughbreds. It would help. It would help us. It would help a lot. Everything.
Yeah. So, folks, if you want to go see, a lot of races, that 11 races, I can promise you that's more than the trials has, and I know it's more than the steeplechase has. So you can see racing all day. I want to say last year I was there for like 3.5, 4 hours, Janice. I mean, it was an all day type thing.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks so much. We're going to see you at the track on Saturday. And again,
Saturday at the track.
yeah, McGee's Mile. It's right on. What road is that on? Is that
Banks
Banks
Mill.
Banks Mill? Banks
Yep.
Mill. Very convenient. You can't miss it. The traffic's not bad. So get on in there, bring the whole family, have a good time. So great for coming on, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Great. Nice to see you, and hope to see a lot of people here. And it's going to be a great day.
Yes, sounds great. Okay.